Wilson?
Yes, fine. Yes, it's probably best.
Wilson. Could you tell us why did you have the idea of building the Wilson Trail? It's so fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you, there's sort of two reasons, really. One is that it used to be a custom that something was done to commemorate a governor. And I was asked what I would like done. And I said there were two things. One would be a heritage trust to look after the old buildings in Hong Kong. You know, buildings in Hong Kong, they're built and they're knocked down within about 20 years. And there's some very beautiful old buildings, particularly Chinese ones in the new territories. So my first thing was, could there be a heritage trust? And there is a Wilson Heritage Trust. The second was, I love walking in the hills of Hong Kong, and I used to do a lot of it at the weekend on a Sunday when I'd finished working. And so I thought it'd be a nice idea that there should be a second trail. There's already, as you know, a MacLehose Trail, and he was a very great governor, and I used to work for him, and I used to walk with him occasionally. I was his political advisor. And I thought, okay, there's a MacLehose Trail. Wouldn't it be nice to have one which went from the south to the north, because MacLehose Trail goes east to west? And wouldn't it be nice if it was just slightly harder than the MacLehose Trail? So what I did was I sketched on a map what could be a possible trail, and it linked up some of my own favourite places for walking, particularly the Bat Sin Leng, which I love, that wonderful ridge above Tolo Harbour. So I put together on the map, just sketched out where this trail might go before I left Hong Kong. And then it was built. It was, there were paths already, but they had to strengthen some of the paths. And I'm afraid they had to put in steps in some of it, which personally I think are unnecessary. You don't need steps on a path. But anyhow, with so many people using it, they wanted to put in steps. And so it took a little bit of time after I had left to complete it. So it was only opened about a couple of years after I'd personally left Hong Kong. But it was just, for me, because I enjoyed so much the hills of Hong Kong, I wanted to create an opportunity for more people to go out onto the hills and enjoy them.
Yeah, they must be in very poor conditions before the trail was built, right?
Well, not particularly. I mean, there were tracks in the hills, and what I used to do was, people in Hong Kong, as you know, tend to work rather hard. So I would only get free time probably on a Sunday afternoon, and I would go and walk for 2 hours, 4 hours in different parts of Hong Kong, particularly in the new territories. And almost everywhere there were paths through the hills, but they weren't very wide paths. And in many places there weren't many people going there. Frankly, that made it quite nice. It made it nice and peaceful in the hills. But anyhow, if there are going to be hundreds of people, then the path obviously gets a bit wider. And if there's a steep hill, as right at the beginning of the Wilson Trail, going up from Stanley, that's quite a steep hill. And all right, I understood they felt they needed to put in steps there, because when it's wet and muddy, it's difficult to go up. And just for your own amusement, I'll tell you that, as I said roughly where I would like it to go. And then shortly before I left Hong Kong in 1992, sorry, I asked the people from the country parks to come and see me, and how were they getting on. They said fine, it was all right, but there's one place that was not possible because it was too steep. And so they designed a trail to go around the bottom of what I would call Stanley Peak, Stanley Mound. It's one of the twins. And I listened to this for a time, and then I said, look, last weekend it was raining and it was very muddy, and our 2 sons happened to be in Hong Kong staying with us. So our 2 sons and I went up, and it took us half an hour to get to the top on a muddy trail. And okay, if you want to build another trail, and you say, okay, for people who can't stand going up steep hills, go this way, but the real trail goes straight up. And so the real trail does go straight up.
Wow. So you mentioned about some of the favorite parts that
Yeah.
were covered.
Yeah.
So where are they?
Well, the favourite is the Bat Sin Leng, because that's that wonderful steep escarpment in English, that very steep slope that goes down into Tolo Harbour, and quite a narrow ridge going along the Bat Sin Leng. And it's very like, I mean, as you'll see in Scotland, it's very like some of the most beautiful walks in Scotland in the Western Highlands. And that's my very favourite, because it's just, it's a beautiful hill and you get wonderful views, and it's an exciting place to go walking along.
Yeah, fascinating. And it ends at Nam Chong.
Yes.
So it's a place of nowhere. Some participants, why end here?
Well, it had to end somewhere near the border with mainland China, so it had to end somewhere near Shuttlecock. And that was the idea. It should go from the south of Hong Kong to the north of Hong Kong, to the line of the border with mainland China. So that would be Shuttlecock. But you don't want to end in the middle of a small town, a small town. So end at Nam Chung, so being as near as you can go sensibly to where the border is. That's why it finishes there. So it's really as far, if you want to start at the south and finish at the north, at the line of the border, then that's a very good place to end. There's no particular logic about Nam Chung itself.
Yeah, maybe because Nam Chung is not a very convenient place to reach.
Oh, right.
So that's why the beauty of it is preserved.
Yes, that's right.
And
yeah.
it makes Wilson Challenge sometimes a mystery and a very tough trail.
Yes. I think, well, it's designed, I'm glad you say it's a tough trail, because it was designed to be not absolutely simple. It was designed to be a bit harder than the MacLehose Trail, and just some of the places that I love to go myself. And you also you remember before Nam Chung, you've got those very interesting areas, some deserted villages, and give you some idea of what the New Territories used to be like when it was fully inhabited, and there were little rice paddy fields up in the hills, and those little villages. So it gives you an idea not just of the hills, but some of the beauty of those, rather sadly, I think, deserted villages now, and it takes you through them.
Yeah, and well, we have briefly counted the number of hills that covered by the Wilson Trail.
Right.
Over 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our participants, they are all experienced racers, and
Yes.
they mentioned to us it's even tougher than the MacLehose
Yes,
Trail.
yes.
Yeah, as we have the Hong Kong Oxfam organize an annual event on the MacLehose Trail as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them even measure the altitude that they climb over the Wilson Trail is comparable to Himalayas. Yeah.
A small hill in the Himalaya, a small mountain. Yeah. No, but it is a design. I'm glad it's like that, because that's what makes it interesting to do. I'm glad so many people. You were telling me how many people take part in some of these things you organise. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, of course, it's the 14th anniversary of the event. So every year, I guess the accumulated number of people participating in the event is over 10,000
Yes,
already.
that's an enormous number. And you tell me on what do they call it? Is it Trailblazer using the MacLehose Trail?
It's the Mont Blanc organized in France.
No, but I mean on the MacLehose Trail, there's a competitive race along the MacLehose Trail, and a lot of people take part in that. I remember.
It's
and
the Trail Walker Hong Kong.
Trail Walker Hong Kong. That's right.
Yeah, and they're going international as well.
Yeah, right.
Because I heard they have also Trail Walker New Zealand, Trail Walker Japan,
and Trail Walker Scotland.
Really?
There were some people who'd lived in Hong Kong who organised it in Scotland as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we think about, of course, we have a headquarter in UK, and we think about, well, we make it Rally Challenge, Wilson Trail, and we make it internationalized as well, Rally Challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a very good idea. Yes. Yeah. But at the moment, it's only Rally Challenge
Hong Kong,
the Wilson Trail.
Yeah. Well, some of our Asian counterparts, they are trying to copy our model. Yeah. But like Singapore, because they are not very hilly and not hilly at all, and so they make the walk about 100 kilometers around the city.
Oh, right.
Going to the border to Malaysia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got to do that, do that. But if you've got some hills, then use the hills. It's much more fun.
Yeah.
But Raleigh does a very good job. My memory is some of these expeditions that Raleigh organises are terrific things.
Yeah, we currently we are working with the countries like Costa Rica, the Borneo, India, and Tanzania. We're going back to the Africa.
And how many people from Hong Kong are going on those expeditions?
Annually around 20. 15 to 20
people. That's very good.
That's a very stable amount of people. Because in going back to year 2000, we have around less than 10 per year going to the expeditions. And now we try to raise the number thanks to the event, because we have more money raised. So the youngsters, they can go to the expeditions more easily.
Oh, that's very good. Very good. I'm very, very pleased to hear that.
And the young people, they learn soft skills. And the project management skills when they are involved in organizing such a big event. And it's the first time they won't learn it in the classroom, because they have to deal with the public, the inquiries, the complaints, everything else. And we do make mistakes, but we also tell the participants that it's a youth development platform, and so sometimes they're less mean to us when compared to the other event. No, it's very good. It's a very good organization. And the young people, they are facing because the young generations nowadays, they are quite protected. So it's tough for them.
Which is very good. Have a challenge of that sort.
That's why we all the alumni after the expeditions, we come back, and we really want to spend time for our young generation and want to give them more challenge. And so then we prepare them for the work, for the society.
Good. Well done.
And maybe we back to the trail. So how do you compare the trail in Hong Kong and those in Scotland?
Well, I climb hills in Scotland a lot, but I don't go on any trail like that. I climb individual hills, and I mean, you will see the Scottish hills while you're here. They're very, very beautiful. And there are a great number of them. So it's a very different sort of thing from walking along a trail, because let's say you're climbing a mountain, you don't necessarily find a trail. You just look at your map and you work out the best way of getting up that hill, the most interesting way, and you just climb individual hills rather than follow a trail. So I don't follow any trails in Scotland, just individual hills.
So is it the climate, the weather, the conditions are very different from Hong Kong? So especially the humid climate of Hong Kong, do you find it difficult for you, or no, you adapt it very easily?
What, to Hong Kong? No, I found, I was a student in Hong Kong. You may know I was a student at Hong Kong University learning Chinese a long time ago. So I spent 2 years as a student, long before I went back to work in the Hong Kong government. And I'm very used to it. I used to climb in the hills. I had a little motor scooter, and I used to travel around the new territories on my motor scooter. I don't mind heat and humidity, because you get soaking wet and you go back home and you have a shower. But Scotland is very different. And what's wonderful about Scotland is the mountains, or the hills as we tend to call them in Scotland, are not very high. It's not like Switzerland, but they can sometimes be difficult. And if people don't understand them, people can make very serious mistakes, particularly in the winter, and go out badly equipped, wearing the wrong sort of shoes, not having a proper anorak, not having waterproof clothes. And people do die on the Scottish hills, sadly, if they go unprepared. So although they're not enormously high hills, they're not the Himalayas, they're not Switzerland, they can be quite exciting, and they are still a real challenge, which they're both beautiful, and you must take them seriously as well as enjoy them.
Sure. I believe even small hills in Hong Kong, or when you try it, you have to be.
You've got to be properly equipped. You've got to wear the right sort of shoes. You don't go out in a pair of city shoes, leather shoes with flat soles, and go sliding all over the place. You just get yourself properly equipped in Hong Kong and in Scotland.
So. Is hiking your hobby before, or you just
hill climbing is certainly has been my hobby since I was a boy. I was at school in Scotland, and the school was very close to the hills. I mean, there were hills all around the school, and it was a boarding school, and we were in the summer on a Saturday, you had lessons in the morning till about 12 o'clock. And then you were given some sandwiches and you were told, go where you like, as long as you're out of the grounds of the school, and you leave a note saying where you've gone and who you've gone with, and as long as you're back by a particular time in the evenings, but you must get out of the grounds of the school. So I mean, since then, I've always loved walking and climbing in the hills. I'm probably getting too old for rock climbing now, but I used to love doing that too.
Yeah, because you must, maybe you heard about Patrick from Morrison Hill. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and
from Morrison's Academy, yes.
Yeah, and he's leading school, the student team to coming to Hong Kong.
I know. And they're thinking too of having, that's not very far from where I was at school, it's about 20 miles away. And they're thinking of doing some sort of competitive relay race over the hills between the two schools, which I hope they do, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that's great, that group of people from Scottish schools based on Morrison's Academy, and that's great.
And another part, apart from the competing the race, they're doing a great job because the kids, they have to raise their own fund.
Yes.
Locally in Scotland,
Yeah.
and tell the public what they are doing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the youth development elements
Yes.
that we all like.
Yes.
We all enjoy.
Yes, I'm sure that's right, and I'm sure that's very valuable, that people should make an effort themselves. They don't just want a handout. Here you are, here's a nice present, off you go and visit another part of the world. It's much better to say, right, you work at getting some of the funds to send yourself there, and then you feel you've done it yourself.
Yeah, and we love the elements. That's the Nigel's idea.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Great.
No, he's done a great job.
Yeah. And so I guess on the hiking part, we have almost done that.
Yeah.
And do you have anything to say, to give bravo to the participant, to our participants? Like, do you still remember some Chinese or Cantonese or Mandarin?
Yes, I spent a long time studying Mandarin.
Something like, well, you can just feel free if you want to say it in English.
Yeah.
Like, 各位參加者加油！ 好快到。
Well,
you understand the
yes,
meaning,
yes,
right?
yes, I do.
Yeah.
But no, what have I got to say? I think I've just got to say, A, enjoy it. B, keep going. Don't give up.
Sure,
if you set yourself an objective, complete that objective, and enjoy doing it. That's the only message I would give to anybody doing it.
Yeah. Good. Wow, great. Well, I guess we got our objectives achieved.
Good, well done. Well done.
We know the mystery is solved.
Yes. I'm sure you always achieve your objective, whatever you're doing, I'm sure you do. No, I'm quite seriously, I'm very glad indeed that there are so many people who are enjoying those hills in Hong Kong, which I used to enjoy both when I was a student and when I was governor, and to know that people enjoy that, it's tremendous. Do you know something that in the world there are very few cities which have beautiful scenery very close to them. Two of them are Edinburgh, where you are now, where you can get immediately out of the city into the hills within half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, and there's even quite a nice hill within the city. And the other one, of course, is Hong Kong, which has the most, of all the great cities of the world, which have beautiful countryside, immediately accessible from the city. Hong Kong is by far the best. And that's partly because of the country parks have been preserved. And so you have this wonderful area for recreation, for people to enjoy, very close to some of the most densely populated parts of the world, like in places like Mongkok. And you can get out onto the hills within half an hour, and you could take a bus, and you can get near. You can even take the mass transit railway and get reasonably near. And it's a very rare thing. If you look at cities of the world, look at New York, it's miles to any hills. Look at London, it's miles to any. Paris, Berlin. But Hong Kong has these wonderful hills and country immediately accessible from the city, and that's a great, great asset. So I'm glad that people are enjoying it.
Yeah, well, more Hong Kong people, they start to go hiking
Yes.
after SARS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and together with the beautiful Jenny,
Yes.
that's why the Hong Kong Tourism Board is promoting coming to Hong Kong
Yes.
for
Yeah.
hiking.
That's good because, you know, it still is, I'm sure, partly the case. When people think of Hong Kong, they think of nothing but high-rise, massive high-rise buildings. Most people who go there have no idea it's got some of the most beautiful countryside in the world, just outside the city. They just don't know it. So if the tourists organisation is promoting that, I'm delighted.
Yeah, and starting from the new program,
Yeah.
and promoting Hong Kong to the tourists.
Yeah.
Rally Hong Kong is part of the volunteer team,
Yeah.
guiding the tour,
Yeah.
the tourists in the country park. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're starting from last winter.
Yes.
We just do that during the winter times because
Yeah.
in summertime it's too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But I hope there are also people who are getting away from the trails and going to places like the Saigon Peninsula or Dalong Wan, and there's a beautiful hill there called, in English, called Sharp Peak.
Yeah.
Nam Sa Zim, yeah, that's it, which is beautiful and miles from anywhere, and so you don't get so many people. So you need to preserve some of those, as well as places where hundreds of people go on these trails.
Yeah, you have done all those Lam Sa Jim
Yes,
and
yes,
wow,
yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, I believe that several 2 decades ago, maybe there's an even more quiet
Probably,
place.
yes. I mean, certainly when I was there, it was quite a long walk to get there. Yeah. So you need those as well as trails. You need remote places for people who enjoy being in remote areas where there are not too many people.
Yeah, and forget about work.
Yes, that's right.
Because Hong Kong is such a
Yeah, no, you're quite right. You need to relax and you let your thoughts flow freely up in the hills. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure you get refreshed
I
when
do.
you go for hiking.
I do.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's nice to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're done with
Okay,
with the
good.
video. Yeah,
Thank you.
You get a good shot, right? Yeah. Do you mind sharing your message to the participant again? The part. Enjoy.
Well, keep going and enjoy it was roughly what I was saying. Yes. Yeah.
Because just now the sound have a little bit overlap.
Okay.
So do you mind to repeat one more to the camera?
Yes. No. The only thing I would say for people who are doing these things that keep going, don't give up, and enjoy it. That's what it's there for, is to enjoy it. But it's also to complete the task you've set yourself. So keep going and enjoy it. That would be my message. Very simple message.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.